Hi everybody, it's Stephanie Greenfield. Today we're going to talk with the gorgeous, the talented Molly Sims about modeling, acting, jewelry, and I know her 15 years. I bet you I'm going to get some secrets for you. Just wait, come on. Molly Sims, world-renowned model, famous actress, and successful entrepreneur, was born and raised in Murray, Kentucky. She went to Vanderbilt University with the hope of pursuing a career in law. One phone call from a modeling agency and her fate was altered forever. She was on her way to becoming a supermodel and a star. Through it all, Molly was the stunning beauty who kept it together while others melted under the heat of fame. In 2010, Molly's career took another turn with the launch of her line of jewelry, Grace by Molly Sims. Molly herself is full of grace. Hi, I'm sitting with the gorgeous and talented Molly Sims. This is a great time in Molly's life to be chatting with her. Molly was just named Model to Mogul, Top 25 from Us Magazine. You have a fabulous new jewelry line called Grace. So thank you for sitting with me. You look fabulous.
Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning. I mean, you're born Molly Sims in Murray, Kentucky. Tell me about Murray, Kentucky, and how the girl from Murray, Kentucky becomes the face that everyone on planet Earth knows around the world. I need a little bit of lineage, a little bit of the journey here.
Murray, Kentucky, it's in the southwest part of Kentucky. It's a very, very small town of about, I would say with the college, it's like good.
And that includes people that actually come there to go to school, right?
7,000, 8,000.
Were you always the prettiest girl in your class?
No.
Be honest.
No, I wasn't. I was definitely
every gorgeous model,
I know.
actress, they were always the ugly duckling.
I know.
They were always weird.
No, but I was more of a tomboy. I played sports. I was a cheerleader.
Were you into fashion?
I was into fashion, and my mom was great about that because she would travel with my dad, to big places like Georgia and Mississippi, and she'd be like, the girls are wearing their hair straight. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was in 2 sets of hot rollers, Aussie scrunch spray, like the whole pretty woman fad. I loved it and lived for it. And then she came back and she was like, they're all wearing it straight. So she got me a straightening iron and we straightened my hair.
So you had the love of beauty, you had the love of fashion.
Everything. She kind of would teach me, like, if somebody was doing this and she had a little statement, well, a couple little things, but she was like, always dare to be different.
And do you think that you do that?
I think it was definitely maybe put into my mind at a young age of always trying different things. As much as I don't like change in my life has been nothing but change.
So let's talk about that change. See, from Murray, Kentucky, you went to Vanderbilt University.
I went to Vanderbilt. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Which is an amazing school. So you were pretty and smart.
I mean, I had to study. Vanderbilt's one of the places where, it's hard to get into, but it's also hard to stay into.
So you didn't start modeling or have any thought about being a model until you went to Vanderbilt University?
Or during my sophomore year, I made friends with a girl at school, and she was like, you really should get your pictures made. So I got my pictures made with a guy named Rick Day. He was based out of Atlanta, and those got sent to Memphis, Tennessee, and then they got sent to New York. I went to New York. I went to see Ford and Elite and Next. And
those are all the modeling agencies that anybody who wants to get into the industry would go to.
I had appointments set up. I went with my mom. I ended up meeting a woman named Faith Cates Cogan. She was like, we want you. And then she'd made a bet with a very famous agent, and he was like, I don't think so. And she's like, I'll bet my hat that she'll make it. So I went to model, and they first sent me to Germany to make a little bit of money, and they forward the money for your ticket. So, because you don't have the money to go. So it was $787 or $67. So I get there and I go into the agency, and they are so difficult. And this man at the time owned it, and he was like, go get your jeans. And he said, I'm too fat. And
he told you you were too fat.
Oh, not only that he told me I was too fat, he would never get the $787 back from the ticket that he had spent on getting me there. He called Faith, and he said, we're sending you back.
What size were you, a 4?
I was probably a good 4.
okay? And that's too fat.
And I needed to be a zero, but I didn't know. I mean, my whole life wasn't what I look like. It was I went to school, I was smart, I had an education.
And you're like, I don't need to be here. I don't need to be here to be abused.
But it definitely, but at the same time, it forced me to like, I'm like, really? I called Faith, I'm like, I can do it. And she's like, just stay there 1 week. And I was like, I don't know. And she begged him to let me stay. I worked every single day for 2 weeks. And
just to prove him wrong?
Just to prove him wrong.
Isn't it amazing that you took that negative statement that could have ruined an insecure girl and you took it upon yourself to say, you know what, just watch me?
Oh, yeah. I ended up staying until I made the money back, made myself money, and then at one point I'm like, why would I ever stay? You know, I started making money. Why would I ever stay with someone who didn't believe in me? So I left. My modeling was definitely I was more your classic money girl, more of your catalog. But after the experience in Germany, I lived in London for 2 years, and then I lived in Paris for 4 years. I learned style, I learned fashion, I learned, you know, everything. I kind of became a sponge and I soaked it up. And then I ended up doing like Spanish Vogues and British L's and Cosmo in Italy. In 2000, I was on the cover of French Vogue. And it's funny, I saw him win French Vogue the month French Vogue came out. And he was like, and he tried to like kind of stop and make conversation with me. He's like, I really wish. I'm like, I've never done a better hair flip in my life. I'm like, too bad, honey.
Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake. Huge.
Yeah, okay.
So I ended up, you know, going back to the States. I had started going back, being able to work more in New York. I started working for J. Crew, and that was becoming big. And then Faith was like, do you want to try to go for Sports Illustrated? And so I ended up, I'm like, absolutely. There again, I went to the ashram for 7 days, didn't speak to anybody, worked my butt off, got in shape, went to see Diane Smith, and she booked me for Sports Illustrated.
I read that you said something, and I was so struck by it because people don't think about it. You said House of Style was the first time anybody ever heard you. They'd always looked at you, but you never had a voice.
Sports Illustrated gave a name. They would put your name, which was huge. I'm like, oh my God. Sports Illustrated gave the name, MTV gave the voice.
When you got House of Style, which really was, you know, the show that we all watched to see what celebrities were wearing, what people were wearing on the street, they chose you. Why do you think you got it? Because you weren't.
Well, my boyfriend will tell you that I like to talk. But I did that for 3 years, and then in between that period, I ended up getting CoverGirl and Old Navy. Again, people connecting a face and a name and a voice. And being on Vegas, you know.
How many years did you do that show?
We did almost 6 years, 5.5 years.
And I know, you know, I went on your Facebook page, and it's playing now in Saudi Arabia.
I have a lot of friends in the Middle East.
And it's amazing, you know, the abundance of new fans you have.
Acting was and is amazing, and I'm definitely going back into TV, which is a really fun thing.
Do you have anything you could tell us about what you're going back into?
No, but I'm probably definitely going to do another show. I'm on the brink
Probably, definitely, which means Molly Sims is coming out
well, you have to
with
let
a new
me
show in spring 2011. Probably, definitely means there will be a new show with Molly Sims. I know you're obsessed with fashion. Not that it takes over you, but you genuinely love to look beautiful. So if you had advice to give a woman, what would you tell her?
The other day I was teaching someone, I'm like, okay, here's how you look skinny in a picture. I'm like, okay, just...
How do you look skinny in a picture?
Well, you know, you tilt it up just a little bit. I'm like, you always have to kind of go up.
This is a moment in time with Molly Sims. How to look skinny in a picture. Can we get up and do it?
No, I'm just like...
Come on, no.
Wait,
Come on, let's do it.
Okay, so you're gonna... Well, if somebody's taking a picture of you, you always kind of want them to like go from here because it makes everybody's angles look...
How about the leg out? Because you always see all the celebrities doing the twist.
Well, it's funny.
When
I was on House of Style, I was interviewing Nicole Kidman, and I watched her, and she just would like open her leg.
Okay, let's do it.
Do
open
that.
Your leg.
And so she would definitely be on your height.
And are you sitting back on your hip? Your
always
opposite
back.
hip.
Always back on the hip. Or like if you're modeling or if you're doing a picture, it's definitely back straight, leg bent and to the side. So if you want it to the side, and then you can kind of twist it.
Okay, twist
and
it.
There you go.
Back to the side and twist.
But I would be surprised.
I think French Vogue's going to be calling me. I mean, now that I have it, I have the look. Talk to me a little bit about makeup, because I mean, you are the ultimate cover girl.
Makeup's tricky. You know, the best advice I could give a woman is that go less on the powder. I know you don't believe me, but the best thing you can do as a woman is you can invest in a thing called primer. And basically what it does, if you put it right here.
And this is called primer.
Primer. So when you have makeup on for 9-10 hours a day, it literally soaks up the sweat and makes it matte.
How about for the every girl? She's going to the office, she's going on a date.
Honestly, every day you should put on primer right here. It keeps you
set?
It keeps you set, but also at the same time, you don't have to put as much powder on. I think women have such foundation, moisturizer, foundation, powder. Go foundation, primer, tinted moisturizer, and then add a little concealer. You do not need.
So you want the glow.
You want the glow, and that's what I always call it, and you call it, because the glow makes you look young.
And you were my go-to glow girl.
Blush. You know, women always think, you know, you still want to do it in here, and yes, you definitely can have a little bit of a contour. But if you put it in here and you put it on the cheeks right here, that makes you look younger. Put it on the apple, it raises you, it makes it fresh. It's like,
so brighten up around your cheeks here.
Stop focusing so much on here and go more in here. But the primer, and then you can do, I mean, and also another little trick, even though some of us put it on a little bit too much in photo shoots, is like the little translucent white powder. I call it the eye lift.
Do you think it's important for someone to feel good about the way they look every single day?
I think if you feel good, you look good, and if you look good, you feel good every single day.
So if you had advice on how to shop?
I would say a great black suit, a great pair of skinny, beautiful pants. I would say a great black dress, whether it be the little black dress, whatever you feel comfortable. I mean, listen, the DVF wrap dress, it's so flattering almost on any shape. So you can go into a red carpet dinner or whatever, red carpet, a dinner, a meeting, a corporate, or you can, or a prom,
business
or
meeting.
you can literally drop your kids off at school.
So you're saying the best thing to do is invest in those core pieces that you can put your accessories around.
I also tell women, you know, really learn your body, learn what looks good on you. I mean, your body type is completely different than mine. Whether it's a V-neck or a strapless, or whether you're pear-shaped or long legs, whatever it is, really know your body. And that's the advice I will tell women. Get a mirror, get a best friend.
As someone, you know, who had retail stores for so many years, sometimes it's good to shop with the best friend, and sometimes, you know, it's
honestly,
not.
I think if you find a store and you find someone you like and someone who can say, take that off.
You need to find that honest Indian that's really going to help you.
You have to.
What kind of jewelry should someone wear that they really can't ever go wrong?
Always buy things that can be versatile, especially if you're going to put money into things. But for me, I don't feel that beauty has a price, so I like women to be able to have it because, you know, especially your classic things, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but at the same time, if you are going to spend money on things that you're gonna have for 10 years.
How did you get inspired, and how did you create a look for yourself? Because you have a signature look.
During the modeling, you know, we would have to do these go-sees. We had no money, so I definitely learned, like, I could make one look work for like 20 different things, which is kind of how I ultimately ended up, which goes full circle, ended up getting into the jewelry, because my mom, I used to plan her wardrobe, like her jewelry wardrobe as a kid, and she would send me over like boxes of jewelry. So I would actually build my outfits around my jewelry. So I would wear a lot of black, a lot of brown, like a lot of basic colors, but I have like fantastic jewelry. So to always like,
hello. Okay. So talk to me about Grace.
Grace is getting buzz. Grace came from, my mom always said I should be graceful and grateful. So I thought, what better name to name a jewelry line? Grace, because I think people should wear their things with grace, have grace, but also be grateful.
So tell me about the Grace look.
So the Grace look is, it's a jewelry line. We have an HSN line, and we also have a collection which we launched last year. And it's timeless, effortless, classically chic, amazing jewelry that you wear, you know, day and night.
And the reaction to your jewelry has been phenomenal.
Amazing.
I mean, there's not a magazine I don't open and I don't see Grace by Molly Sims, gracebymollysims.com. And you know, that's something you should be super proud of. Can you show me something here?
So this is kind of where it all started. So this is like the original layering piece. So for women who don't know how to layer, you know, as much as you say, oh, put it on, you know, feel free to like mix and match it
That's
up.
a great piece. It's all attached.
It's all attached. So
it's
really,
grab
this
and
is
go.
a great. Listen, I love Fenton Fallon and all like the rocker kind of that fabulous look, but at the same time, I wanted my piece to be a little more elegant, a little more timeless, so you'll have it in 10 years. But I'm loving the layering, and so we always will do sets of things. So this comes into a set. So this is a la very Chanel. So this is our.
And we always see pictures of you on the red carpet,
Right.
you know, wearing the layered thing. And then you have, you know, these kind of deco pendants.
Which deco pendants I love.
And you're right on trend,
So
because we saw them all down the runway.
Exactly. So then you can still add and keep it dressy. Throw on a leather jacket. So see, that's the ultimate in styling. We're going longer, go longer. It actually elongates you. It actually makes you look thinner proportionately. A lot of women with
So north-south.
north-south with bigger with a bigger chest are like, oh, I can't wear anything that like it's here because I'm actually, it makes you elongated. If you're wearing it down to here, they're not looking here.
Oh, I'm learning so much today.
So like this piece is a great piece. This is more of my, you know, nicer pieces.
And you love pearls. I think that's your southern
pearls.
thing.
I love pearls. You know, pearls are iconic. They will never, ever, ever go out of style. So this is one of my favorite pieces. You see Sarah Jessica Parker wearing it, which I'm very proud that I had it before. But this is just a simple studded heart that you can really wear by itself, mixed in with everything.
It looks like your grandmother or your
but
mother
it
could
looks
have
like
given that to you.
literally my grandmother's.
I know that you are an internet junkie. Talk about what you use the internet for, how you're shopping online, what you're buying online.
Well, we just started Grace by Molly Sims, which is the e-commerce site for the collection. The power of it and the power of, you know, information shared has really helped me. It's helped, you know, grow my business. It's helped in every way. But it's, you know, this internet, this machine right here has been amazing, but it's also, you know, it can evoke a certain laziness that I don't like. You know, I've had to work since I was 15 years old, researching, working, long hours, putting things together manually.
And
that
physically
I think,
doing the work.
You know, I call the 20-year-olds the Google generation. And I hate that term, but at the same time, you didn't have to research on the Dewey Decimal System. You didn't have to go and
you didn't
find
have to
something
stuff a garment
and look
bag in
something.
fashion,
And
you know, like we
exactly.
did, and then physically walk it or sit in the phone book to look up where it goes when you're lost. You know, it's an easier
research.
world.
It's an easier world. And the one thing that I've definitely learned and have had the experience of learning from modeling, take it back even further, from university to modeling to acting to, you know, owning a business, is, you know, it's the first time in my life where I've seen something from beginning, middle to end. And I think that process has been the most important thing to me because, you know, I now look at designers in a whole new way. I now look at, you know, owners of, whether it be a tea shop or whether it be, you know, the owner of Starbucks, or I definitely respect any self-made business person because it is hard.
Do you do most of your shopping online now?
I'm getting there. It's difficult.
I know you're a
because
Gilt girl.
I am a Gilt girl. Listen, I got slow into Gilt, but I am Gilt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you got there or how long it took you.
I'm guilty of being Gilt.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. You get these great, amazing things, and it's like a free-for-all. So it's like a sample sale. I mean, everybody knows this, but it's the ultimate luxurious sample sale.
I'll tell you, and I can say this personally, and you know, it's the rumor. You're a genuinely good human being. You're that go-to girl. Not only can I call you and ask you a question, but, and I'm not saying because we're here or because we're friends, you care. Like, I'll ask you a question about, oh, do you think I should get this wallpaper? And you will take it to the next level. You'll be calling me, I found this, I'm sending you this picture, I found that. It's like, enough, you know, and it's
I'm that
so
girl.
kind. And why do you think, you know, you feel the need to do that? Do you feel blessed because you've had so many people help you that you want to give back? Like, where does that come from? Because not everybody is as generous as you are with the information or the time.
I think I learned it over such a period of time, and you know, people who don't know me and who don't know me like you do for the past, you know, 15, 16 years, I wasn't this girl. I mean, I really say to people, I'm completely made over.
You're making me teary.
James Lipton inside
No,
the
you're
actor
making-
studio.
but that's- no,
but
but
it's
that's so
true.
real
You
and
know,
honest.
I've really, like, I was that girl with, you know, dark hair, big bushy eyebrows, a little overweight. What you see in magazines, you know, especially editorial-wise, and it's been shot, we're pinned, we're retouched, we're sucked in. The influence of pop culture and where we are with our kids in society and girls being on diets at 12 and 13 and 14 and wanting to look like this one and wanting to look like that one. That's why I think it's extremely important, you know, to be a good role model. I had great parents, and I had definitely, you know, parents
smart.
who would say, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You know, if you can do anything for your children, tell them that they can be king of the world or whatever they want to do, whatever they want to be. That's definitely something that I will tell my kids, you know, and things aren't always good and things get really bad, but you have to make it constructive. You have to turn it into something.
How do you keep the kindness? How do you keep it all together and, you know, keep the smile on your face?
Oh, I have my days.
We all have our days. I have my weeks.
I really like, you know, I know a lot of people who are really unhappy. And I know a lot of really rich people who are really unhappy. But
How do you measure richness? How do you measure a life? So how do you measure your life? Because you've lived so much. You're not even 40 years old yet. Please catch up to me.
I think you pay it forward. I think you get back what you give. And I definitely, that's why in terms of like charity and working with, you know, underprivileged kids and everything that you do is, you know, a reflection of who you are and who you want to be and being a good role model. And I do think, I believe in karma. I think it comes back. But also the best times have been, you know, from... Don't make me cry.
But you're so grateful. You're so thankful. That's what's so beautiful about you. And I think, you know, people should look at you as someone that you can have it all and not have to sacrifice dignity.
Never
And
sacrifice
elegance and
yourself
friendship.
and also like, you know, I always say to women, you know, be confident, be yourself, believe in yourself, and share. I am so fortunate, but at the same time, I work really hard.
You do, and you've earned it.
And you have to own that. I mean, I think for me, some of the things that I've learned, you know, being 37 now is I don't get walked over, you know, and it's like, and I've had to learn to say no, and, you know, that's been the biggest difference, I think, in the moment you come up and say, no, this is not right for me. No, I'm not doing that. And you really, really own that and don't feel bad about that because I'm quote unquote Southern. That's definitely a leap that I've come to have in the last year.
How much do you love Molly Sims? I learned so much. Jewelry, clothes, beauty, fashion, and she really warmed my heart. You know, when she started talking about privilege, that was a moment. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.